teams fighting out in qualifiers for that last chance spot, but that's exactly where they find themselves. And Elevate, they're looking to pick themselves back up after a rough start yesterday, Tim.
Yeah, it's not. The problem for Elevate is the surprise package on LAN. The problem is they've been the surprise package a couple of times now. You know, they've had those moments, and so teams are more than ready. And the real concern I've got for them today, I don't want to talk in terms of like, you know, it's a foregone conclusion, because I don't believe that it is. We're on Oregon. That's where Onigiri broke the kill record. You know, it's definitely a map that they can play. But for me, they're not going up against a good team for them, because Space Station have got some of, I would say 4 at least, and I'm not discounting Yeti's abilities here, but 4 of the most experienced players that we've got in competitive Siege. Yeti has got plenty of experience under his belt as well, don't get me wrong, but, you know, we're talking about the core 3 of this roster particularly, you know, in Fultz, Bosco and Rampy, that have been around for the longest time, and they're not going to be surprised, I wouldn't expect, by anything Elevate brings. They're going to give them the respect, they're going to be well prepped for them, and they are not going to be another surprise result, I wouldn't expect.
You know, I'm half with you, but I'm also kind of divided like Mandy and Dev were on the desk. I could see this going to 3 maps, and I can't really predict which way it goes again, because SSG have found themselves in this difficult spot where they've had to come through the quals, where clearly it hasn't clicked the way they'd like in Stage 3, and there's work to be done. Elevate, I've really enjoyed. Like, I remember last year we saw Mr. Punch, for example. Absolutely incredible last time I cast this guy just a few months ago. Back in Berlin, I want to say it was. What an audience that was for Elevate as well. Fair play to everyone who was there. But I do think this team has got something really special about them. They're starting on one of their favorite maps at the moment. This could be a promising sign, especially against SSG, who do not like this map. I think it's their second least favorite map when you look at preference order at the moment. Those are all stats, those are all numbers. What really matters is what happens in the game. And here we go, Onigiri straight onto rocking up that Mark 14, the exact gun that he's known to be an absolute demon with.
I mean, you know, I've given SSG their respect. I'll give Elevate their dose of the ace of Pyrite positivity, Des. I would love
to shorten that to Pyrite positivity.
We can. I would love to see Elevate.
You also forgot the ace of Pyrite cold thing earlier.
I did, to be fair.
How can you
I was just so excited about her intro. I would love to see, you know me, I love nothing more than a team coming out and surprising me. I just don't know. I look at the Stage 3 that Elevate had. They finished in 4th place. They struggled to get wins. It was win, loss. You know, they were up and down consistency-wise. They've had those roster changes. It's going to take something big, and I feel like they are really sort of a little bit reliant on, you know, those big performances from Onigiri. And my question is, what's going to happen when a team like SSG look at that and go, right, we just close Onigiri out of it. We focus on whoever he's playing.
Is that it, Tim? Oh my God, Elevate have got to get you in as a coach, mate. If the answer is just shut down Onigiri, it's the way to go.
It's certainly not the entire answer.
Here we go. Kappa's in, trying to look for a kill already straight away. A little hold here coming around, meeting itself. C4 over the top, but Hot and Cold's there at distance for support as well. A really cool hold coming out of SSG. 2 or 3 players all mobilized around Big Tower and inside the meeting itself. I mean, they find the early entry onto the Capital. Such a critical first operator to bring down as well, Tim.
It is indeed, and it's smart play from SSG, where they've largely retired back to site now. They've got Fultz watching freezer stairs, but other than that, they're pretty much down there. They've got their kill. They're happy enough now to hold their angles and say to Elevate, right, come and break us down. What have you got? Because you're going to have to take the initiative now. And it's a nice little setup from SSG. 1 minute 10 left to go. No real progress for Elevate, Des. They're only just starting to think about hatches and whatnot. You've still got somebody at bottom of stairs. Rampy's being allowed to play on the alibi there, and it's just going to be a last-minute rush.
The smokes are gone. The Candelas are down. They've burnt them all looking towards Big Tower here, which means this drop's going to be really risky. Coming in from Mark, who's got that diffuser in back pocket on the Hibana. He may well get into spot, but then there's also 2 cap cans waiting on the other side of the site door, which only makes this more and more risky. It feels like they've kind of shortchanged themselves a little bit here. SSG playing super passive and just saying, look, if you want to come and have a go, then please do, because we know that we can take you down. And there it is, runs straight into the 2 cap cans. They lose one on elbow. Elevate here, it's crumbling before they even got to look at the site. There's 2 left standing, and this one feels, Tim, like an SSG round.
25 seconds left to go. Mark manages to take down Hot and Cold. There's an opportunity here, but no! Shut down in highway. Yeti's going to get that kill, and it leaves Onigiri, the man himself, with a lot of work to do. 1 versus 3, 15 seconds left to go. It's very very unlikely he's going to hit that call, just try to create any disruption that he can, Des, as he pushes in, but no, doesn't even get as far as Pillar before he's closed out, and SSG have just controlled that round from beginning to end. It was really, really nice from them. Great understanding of the basement site. Pick up an early kill, drop back down, hold your positions. We saw how much they'd frustrated Elevate. When you start seeing Capcan kills crop up inside like that, it's because the team are rushing generally, and they don't have that time to be checking every door frame, droning every, and making sure that they've got those traps taken down. Well played, SSG.
It was a great play by SSG. I think the three-man hold coming up around Big Tower and meeting was a real aggressive way of trying to deny away the hatch. And as you saw, it got them that entry. But I can't help but feel a lot of that was really lost on Elevate's choices. They lost the first man and had to rotate the Ying over to playing on Big Tower stairs. You really want those smokes and those candelas to get you safely down through the drop and working your way forwards. By the time it came around to the drop coming in, they had one smoke and one candela still left on side. One of those was also just thrown out randomly in spawn. I think it was out towards construction. I don't know if it was a mispress or if Punch was just trying to bait that instead they were going in through construction side. I don't know. But it didn't feel very together coming out of Elevate. Admittedly, a little bit strapped once they lost the Capital, because you really wanted those smokes and those firebolts to assist in the drop and the execute, but SSG read that like a book, as you saw as well, those two Capcans doing all the work they needed. So there is improvement needed for Elevate going into round 2. A very similar lineup, in fact an exactly identical one coming in here for a different site as we head up onto that second floor, Tim.
We do. We're going to have the Capcan traps knocking about again, the EDDs, and we've seen the lethality of them potentially in the first round, and it's something that Elevate are going to have to pay attention to, because the thing is here, they're up against a team that, even in round 1, they look like they're ready for the fight here. They look like they're up for it, and if you're going up against an SSG team like that, you can't give them anything for free. You can't be going in there even in half health because you've tripped one Capcan trap. You know, you've got to be on it, and you've got to make sure that you're clearing those devices out. Now, DCH is going to be holding angles, just waiting for any potential peaks. Elevate looking a little bit concerned here, Des. There's windows that are opened, and it's, don't get me wrong, good that they're paying attention to them, but you've got 2-3 guns all trained at them, and we're a minute into the round.
Can we take a quick look at Trophy, please, Observer, as well? I'm curious to know exactly what other utilities in there. Is it ADSs there, or was it just the magnets? It was just the magnets, cool. In fact, there's an ADS there as well. So they've thrown 4 flashes through, burnt through 1 magnet, and in the process, 3 flashes have gone off, and they've not done anything off the back of it. No nade has followed through to clear out anything in there that's now exposed. So that ADS is going to recharge that's inside a Trophy. They'll have to reburn through that again, and they have no flashes left on side. Not 100% sure how I feel about that one, boys.
DCH is going to be working his way through into meeting, but the prox alarm is going to give away his position, and you can see immediately from the silhouette there, guns start training. It's Yeti who is ready for that potential challenge. DCH is just going to hold his angle for a little bit, but with 1 minute 20 left on the clock, he can't stand here and hold this forever, but Yeti does stray across. He's going to take a little bit of chip damage, but they can't find the kill. Sapper elsewhere does manage to pick up a headshot onto Fultz, but that's levelled out as Hot and Cold manages to find Mr. Punch, and that is going to leave us now 4v4 coming into the final minute, and still no top floor control really for Elevate.
No, and they're still establishing themselves really. They've got to be mindful of the fact that Yeti is still running around downstairs. Rampy as well is also down in the basement, so there's 2 players potentially off site here. I think we might have just seen Yeti. In fact, no, he's still out towards Showers, I believe. So there's 2 players that are entirely off site here looking to do a little bit of work for SSG. That could be a real backstab unless they've got those flanks locked down with drones sat ready and waiting. But Tim, there are only 2 drones on side. They don't have any flank cover right now. They've lost all that information game, and that's arguably why SSG are looking to get so aggressive on the roam.
Elevate at the minute, I think, just not doing quite enough. It's maybe not their choice, but not doing enough work in the early round and just leaving themselves too late, having to push in. Bosco shotgun, Yeti finds one. Onigiri from the window will pick up Yeti as a trade, but it leaves us with 20 seconds left to go. 2v3, and Elevate once again are going to have to rush and push this situation. They've got no choice. DCH manages to find Hot and Cold, level things up. 10 seconds left to go, but you're going up against 2 of the most experienced in Siege in this situation, Des. It's Bosco, it's Rampy. Yeti picks up a kill from beyond the grave with the Capcan explosive device, and there's the final kill from Bosco. Puts it down, and that is going to be another round for SSG. And as I said in round 1, Des, I'll say the same again. Last 15 seconds, you're rushing to push, you're going to go into Capcan traps. You have to have them dealt with.
This is what I always say as well, is as soon as you know there's one Kapkan trap on the map, you know there are 4 more in waiting somewhere, and you have to check every single door you go through. I was watching the Sonics game earlier on, and basically every single time their opponents were trying to get into a room or through a window, they were checking the floor for frost bats. It was just expected. Elevate have now seen Kapkan 2 rounds in a row. If they see him again in any future rounds, they really have to be mindful of those traps. You've now lost 2 players across 2 rounds. Super not ideal. And I come back again to how that round started, Tim, with the utility use, the flashes being dumped in through the window, there being no follow-up, a shield going down for free inside of there with ADSs and magnets still covering it. It's a little bit... It's not super well thought out by Elevate is the best way I can describe it. And I don't really want to like flame them or go super hard on them here, but there are some really questionable decisions that is making this far easier for SSG than it really should be at an event like SI.
I think there's a combination of things happening. I think you're absolutely right there. I think also the SSG are setting up very well. They are winning gunfights. And I think to a degree, it's not necessarily about Elevate winning rounds as much as SSG winning them as well. You know, I won't be too critical on Elevate when I say they haven't got into the map. They're not established. There's only a minute to go. It's because of what they're facing up to. It's what, you know, it's what they're trying to break down. They just can't find those cracks. They can't find those ways in, and it is a tough one for them.
It's like a seesaw, right? Do you say one side's losing or the other side's winning?
Exactly that.
I honestly think there's a mix of both. SSG are playing this to the letter. They're getting out on their own when they're realizing basically all drones are gone. They're doing that sort of thing really smartly, but there's also Elevate here, whiffing away utility, pushing into random spots. You had 2 players looking at site, for example, whilst one was still trying to work their way around showers. Just little things like that weren't really fully put together, so it's a bit of both, 50-50 I'd say right now, and we'll see across the next couple of rounds if Elevate can warm into it. If they lose this round, I would really hope to see a timeout just to reset things here and get things back on the wagon, because it has been painful so far.
Onigiri just peppering a few shots through the soft wall there, actually nearly finds his man, but I think just a couple of millimetres to one side will save Yeti's life. Hot and cold, just with a very nice, as you say, keep a barricade there that he's going to play from behind, deep on the benches. They know that Yeti's in position, so they're using the tools that they've got well. There's in goes the nade. Yeti tries to get away, but can't, and that is a beautiful visual that we had of that play as well. Onigiri taking a lot of damage from the impact nade though, and Hot and Cold, he just dips himself back, spraying as he goes and taking hit points with him.
We have seen this so many times, this push coming in through the meeting wall with the Ossa having shields around. Bosco trying to creep his way up green, but Mr. Punch says hell no. Shuts down both him and Fultz, finds 2 kills, Mark into another, and it does look like finally Elevate will get on the board. Direct to site, bring the Ossa as the primary plant tool that you need, and they've managed to make this nice and simple for themselves and get a flawless round. A massive turnaround after those first 2.
Nicely played from Elevate there. Bosco and Fultz, you know, making a big attempt to get themselves up the green. It's one of those plays, you roll the dice, if it comes off, you've won the round.
Yep.
It didn't. Mr. Punch was there, he gave them the 1-2 punch, he said absolutely not today, and managed to get himself 2, easy as that, there you go. And it really just, the rest of the defence crumbled at that point. You know, we were down to low numbers, and it was a good win for Elevate to put themselves on the board. But looking at the way things have gone, you know, if we rinse and repeat that, we get a 4-2 half for SSG. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past SSG to win that 3rd site at the 2nd time of trying. So I still think there's serious work for Elevate to do here, because we're coming into sites now with basement, with top floor, where Elevate haven't really been close at all. So it's not that they need a small adjustment, you know, they need to be changing things big style and quickly.
Yeah, I mean, equally SSG are looking to do something similar here, although the Goyo is still being retained and used for that stall tactic coming out of the Vulcan canisters. There are no Kapkans on side this time, though Castle, as we all know, can be such a massive transformer of sites. Being able to lock off certain lines of sight, making it risky to get up close and destroy them unless you have some range destruction. Really here, you're looking at the sledge of Sapper to be the one that's going to get through and do it. I like the last second change away to the Hibana as well. You kind of expect that for this site because the hatches are there to deal with. Even opened up here already by SSG, so by the looks of it, Tim, they want to play up and around meeting again, try and cause some trouble. Fultz also getting locked down around kitchen and security. That's pretty staple, to be fair, for this site. And DCH is in, blowing up a couple of those Vulcan canisters already.
Elevate need to keep themselves alive for the first minute. That was one of the big problems that they faced last time. They got hit with, I think it was an early nitro that took one of them down within the first minute, and it really did put them on the back foot. Now, what is Fultz doing? He's just on a little lurk there. He's just holding his position, waiting for the opportunity, and I love to see it. If he pops around Classroom here, he could really teach them a lesson, Des, because there's 2 of them looking to push in. We've got Sapper and Onigiri coming in from the garage side of things. Now, Fultz is going to drop back to his position. He doesn't want to over aggress that, which is fair enough. He was the one holding freezer stairs previously, and he's gone back into that. But it's also good from Elevate that they've forced him to do that, and this is how they need to do it. Take control of the map and build from there.
See, I've looked at this as the round has gone on, and I really feel like they could try and do a direct sight here and get Southside control really quick. There's a player inside a cubby, but that's about as far as it's gone when it comes to SSG's present on site. They're trying to be busy off the site itself, which is great for teams that want to play into that. But at the minute, Elevate have got 3 or 4 players stacked up on the south side, and I'm thinking, hey, if they're committing 3 or 4 heads up towards top side, just hit the site. There's not actually that much down there to stop you as long as you know what utility needs to be used. Now you can see 4 of them getting ready. They're still trying to challenge, but again, boys, I'd really challenge you here and say, let's think about, okay, it's too late now because they've already pulled down. 30 seconds ago, a direct site hit could have been the answer.
There's going to be a couple of gunfights that are very important. I'd expect them to be happening in the next 45 seconds or so, and that's going to be when the initial challenges start coming in from Elevate. We can see we've got all of SSG now turtled on site, all within a very small radius of each other. So, Elevate, this is your opportunity. You've got them surrounded. You've cleared the utility you want to clear. It's time to push and win gunfights. There's no other way to win rounds, and how those first few go are going to be very important.
No drones again, though, Tim. They're down to 3. One of those is in the back pocket of Onigiri as well, so they don't have much information on site. So all these drones that have been burnt, figuring out what's going on upstairs, are now no longer available for the actual site here. They're very much going in blind, and that's what makes me nervous. They've got to make this work whilst praying they don't get swung from every possible location the second they try to do something.
Hot and Cold is still controlling elbow as well here, Des. Mr. Punch, he keeps prodding and poking from bunker, but there's going to be no way in. He's got a Hot and Cold sat behind a shield, I think. He's got Vector in hand, and he's ready to cut him down. So that's at least one of the angles. There you go. Look at that absolutely disgusting little angle. DCH is going to take damage there, and here comes that last second push again. 20 seconds, Yeti gets one, gets so excited he finds himself another impulse. I'm not sure how much it's going to matter though. Mark manages to get Rampy, 13 seconds left to go. It leaves us in a 4 versus 3. Elevate have numbers, but not for long as Bosco headshot onto DCH. We've got kills going in both directions. Mark gets in, might just get this diffuser down, but no, Yeti, he steps out with an important kill, and once again, SSG, they just show they are in full control of the basement.
Dear ground for Yeti as well. 3 kills playing around deep freezer there. Great spot to be in and does the business that SSG need. I will give to Elevate though, given they had nothing
it was better
for them with 60 seconds to go. Sure, helped out a little bit by the TK, but they managed to almost pull something together there at the very end, but just couldn't quite get it in the end. You saw, for example, when Mark stepped down and looked down highway and got himself the first kill, he was having to check every single corner, every doorway in case there was a player there. Just hindered slightly by the fact they had no drones, no information, everything was being done kind of ad-lib, figuring it out as they went along. That's what we've got to be careful of. It's the 3rd round now I think I've seen SSG whittle those drones down to almost nothing by the time 60 seconds are left, and SSG are then saying, right, hit them on the flank, force them to come in blind. And I'm seeing the Frost and the Capcan on side, Tim. I think it's a brilliant choice. They're seeing this and saying, look, we've caught them out with Capcans twice so far. They're pushing in quite blind. There's a very fair chance at some point you are going to see someone either step through another couple of Capcans or straight into a Frost map.
Here we go then, round number 5. We're going to be heading into the action phase very, very soon. You know, you're absolutely right to pick up on Frost there. We're just sort of really, we can't even say we're doubling down on the traps, we're tripling down on them with the Legion as well. Again, SSG, I think, recognising that Elevate have maybe been a little bit slow to gain control. They're having to execute in those final 30, 40 seconds, and, you know, it's not a case of an execute where you're just going in to put the diffuser down. When we say execute, they're having to start the push, get the kills, do absolutely everything. So there's a lot going on for them, and there's a great opportunity for them to be missing pieces of utility like that.
4 drones already gone. We're 20 seconds into the round now. I've seen a couple of teams lose like 3 during the drone phase, and that's really bad. You're losing more than 1. There's mistakes being made, but to already be down 4 as the round has just started.
And that's with Soulless banned.
Yeah, it's just not a good look. I don't know. We'll see what the impact of that is when we come down to about 60 seconds left, when we actually start squaring up for the site itself. But again, it is a point I keep on seeing happening again and again across these rounds that's really starting to play on my mind now.
Mr. Punch on the roof with the Omaru, just going to open up the attic window. Trying to push in again. Elevate have been very much about, you know, aggressing from multiple sides. Sapper is over currently by the master balcony. He's holding an angle in through there. They've got attention on attic. They had Onigiri on double window last time around. He's not positioned himself there yet, but there is the potential later in the round. And they are trying to work from multiple sides. They are trying to make SSG's life difficult.
Oh my God!
He's just gunning through every wall in front of him. He knows that Yeti's there somewhere, but somehow Yeti still going and has about 10 HP left and manages to get himself back to site.
Tim, they've got no drones left again. I know I keep on coming back to it, and it feels like I'm really honing in a really small point of this, but they have no information. Everything is being taken blind, and this is where SSG are thriving. Truthfully, really unlucky not to get a couple of kills, though. Yeti hitting the deck while you're being sprayed at. I was like, just keep running, man. What are you doing? But he does walk away alive. He's sat at 8-2. He's laughing, and that is a wonderful nade coming out from DCH from below. Hot and Cold and Yeti both down to a slither of HP as well. A single bullet enough to put them both in the grave.
I was going to say Elevate might not have any drones, but SSG barely have any hit points at this point. They've got a number of players who are going to be down with one bullet, and that is certainly something that they need to manage going forward, or those nades from below can just be that little bit further away and still be lethal, as we see Hot and Cold taken down but not out as well. Unlikely at this point probably to be recovered, because we know in the final 40 seconds things are getting dangerous. Elevator close to the site, they're pushing, they're prodding, they're trying to find anything that they can, and Hot and Cold, he's just trying to provide a bit of information. I think he's just positioned himself in the middle of the dorms there. He can hear DCH pushing in, he can give that call at least.
And here comes Mark. Okay, so that's giving his location away. They know there's one inside the site and one's top white. SSG now needs to set up these crossfires. There's 3 of them on side to work together. Sure, Mark's in looking for a plant as well, but they can make the move. That's exactly what they're starting to do. One spray coming down. DCH is out. Mark is all alone. He's got 3 to bring down. It's simply not going to happen. Rampy with the close in 2K, and SSG still in full control.
As soon as Rampy manages to hit that peak onto DCH, I think it was Rampy at the top of White Stairs, that's the round done. Mark's in there. He's in a potential plant spot. There is a bit of a risk from Kids.
He's like down and up, down and up. It's not
having himself a little workout in the showers there, and then through into dining, just keeping himself alive. And there's that Elevate timeout that you suggested we might be getting at some point soon. As it was, they didn't lose the 3rd round, but after losing 2 more of those, I'll say, joint primary sites, really, it's all down to personal choice of the teams. Top floor, bottom floor, both very popular, very valuable sites. But yeah, Elevate now decide they've got to pull the trigger on that timeout.
Yeah, what is funny actually is I thought that was probably the air quotes cleaner round out of Elevate, the way they played it, the way they got set up. The only downside being they lost all their drones within the first 80 seconds or so, had nothing really left for the rest of the round. Now there's always that element of players can figure things out together, you know, they're not stupid, they know where players are likely to be. You saw that wonderful nade coming out from DCH to get a kill from below, and the second one that turned into a down 2. So they can make it work, it's just not doing them any favors. But outside of that, I actually really liked that last round from Elevate. I think they're starting to warm into things. Is it going to be too little too late? We'll find out when it comes to Clubhouse, I think, because I would be shocked if SSG can't get this last round here and then convert at some point in the next 2 to 3 rounds to get it to maybe a 7-2, 7-3 scoreline. I can't help but ignore the frags, not ignore, or can't help but pay attention to the scoreboard, Tim. No one above 4 kills on the side of Elevate right now. That's less than 1 per round for each of those players. Onigiri sat at 4 and 4. The rest still kind of scrambling to try and get themselves involved in this game.
I want to mention Yeti as well. Obviously, Yeti moved across to the roster recently. We saw him in Jönköping, and I'm going to preface this by saying, let me finish my point. Yeti had a bit of a tough time, numbers-wise, in Jönköping. To be fair to SSG, they were in a very difficult group in Jönköping. They had BDS and they had W7M, the ultimate winner, 2 of the best teams in the world in that group with them. They had a tough first day, came back stronger on the second day, but it was always going to be difficult to qualify after that first tough day. But to see Yeti come in here, after a difficult sort of first LAN with SSG and come in and straight away, first game, bang, 8-2, it's just going to be a great confidence boost for him, and that's very dangerous for all the other teams.
Here we go.
Yeti is certainly very capable.
Here comes the choo-choo train, Tim. They're in with the blitz, racing straight in there as well, finding one. They've also got the Blackbeard on side. They've got the EE1D scans coming out. Everything looking to shut down SSG before they can react. They've got inside a kitchen. They know one's on the hatch. Sapper down to a slither of HP, assisted somewhat by that salvation station down on the ground. Smokes in. Sapper's going in for a plank. Got some cover outside from Onigiri. It feels like they may well have just managed to, I don't want to say cheese, but they've definitely caught the side of SSG off guard here into a 2 versus 3, where one of those last 3 is a shield. field. 4-2 looks to be the scoreline.
Not a bad shout from Elevate. You know, sometimes you've just got to throw that curveball in there and see if you can pick yourself up a round. And, you know, these rounds can be difference makers. So well played from them. It's not quite over yet, but it wasn't going to be long. Onigiri on the Blackbeard, just at the little green window there, takes his man down. It's Fultz is the last, and it's a good round from Elevate. Whichever way you want to look at it, you know, sometimes you've just got to roll the dice, and it was a good judgment call from them to get the rush in there. It worked, it got the job done, and they're 4-2 rather than 5-1, which is a big difference.
Absolutely. I mean, looking at the scoreline here, I think anyone would look at that and go, oh, SSG go 4-2 on defense on Oregon, or any team goes 4-2 on defense. Yeah, that sounds pretty reasonable. Win the offsite, no problem. For me, where the biggest difference comes in is the manner in which those rounds have been won. Like, SSG dominated Elevate in the rounds that they won. For Elevate, I'm not going to say they didn't play well, because they absolutely did. The first round on the offsite was with the Ossa. It was very well orchestrated. It was some great name places coming out from Onigiri. That last round there, I say I don't want to call it cheesy, but it is kind of on that level. It caught them off guard. It got the job done. That's all that really matters. They've now got to show a really, really powerful defense to be able to pull things out. They've got the cap cannon side themselves. They've got a couple of shields. They've got the evil eyes. Where you've got to be careful, though, is if you are getting out on the roam in the same way that we saw SSG kind of half doing on their defensive this side, there is a Jackal on the other side. Fultz, he's going to go hunting, and you know exactly what's going to happen after that. The rest of the team are going to descend, and they will pinch onto any would-be roamers.
We get into it then. Let's see what happens with these SSG attacks. It's going to be straight down to basement that Elevate go. It's a site that they struggled with, so no surprise that they're going to try and build their castle there. They're going to try and make it a lockdown in a couple of rounds. The thing is, if you look at this, it's not terrible for Elevate. They've got two good sites to go at, you know, and it is very possible for them to return a 4-2 here. My concern for them probably is, at the minute, going to be the players out on the roam, because I feel like SSG are just really feeling them gunfights at the minute. And, you know, players like Yeti going in there on the Twitch, we've got Fultz on the Jackal. I just feel like they're going to be tracking them down, they're going to be hunting them, and Elevate need to be very careful managing that they don't overstay their welcome.
That's what I'm hoping for as well, as I said earlier on. I think those Jackal traps come in, you have 2 or 3 players looking to collapse in. Rampy, the one kind of working his way forward here, just checking out for any goo mines that might be on these stairs, of which there are none. Could get real cheeky here and find a kill or 2 around security if they keep on moving so freely. But I don't think they have any idea that he's here right now. Now he's run into one. Now they do.
Just going to slow down progress a little bit, but the clearance will still continue. I think Elevate now have largely been pushed back to site. DCH is still present in meeting. I'm going to need to be careful because he's got the man above him. The book is up there, and Mark's just going to be forced out of kitchen as well. I think this is probably the turning point. This is the moment now where the drop back has to come. DCH is going to stay for a little bit longer. Mark gets found out by Yeti just after dropping back to site. So Yeti, he's already down there at pillars. This is good from SSG, Des. 1 minute 20 left to go, and they've got a commanding position down in the basement.
I feel like they're trying to tame a wild animal, right? They're playing it so slow. Remember, like, Rampy just kind of crouch walking his way super slow down white stairs. Oh, Sapper, look towards your left, but I think there's some walking across the top. In fact, no, it was out in the hallway. Caught me out on that one. Dronus in him out. He's back down in the kitchen. Drops out of smoke and looks to pull his way back. But very slowly, we are seeing them being tied in here as well. Yeti loses out that 1v1. Missed the punch, hitting a pretty nasty headshot on that Legion. But you can see the pressure starting to build up from SSG as we get into those last 60 seconds.
It's going to come down to Onigiri to try and hold down from elbow, and he's still got his shield, he's still got his utility, so not the end of the world, but SSG, they're feeling pretty comfortable, I think. They've got them surrounded, they've got the laundry, they've got the pillar presence, and they can start looking to apply pressure. Bosco's going to deliver the diffuser down those laundry stairs, so it looks like the push-in is going to come from that location as they try to get in and start getting the diffuser down. Fultz is leading the way, first of all. What a beauty from Sapper. Onigiri finds one from elbow as well, and all of a sudden it's a 4 versus 2. Bosco and Hot and Cold, and Bosco has the diffuser, but he's out in the cold all alone, really. No support on that side of the map. He tries to do his best, but shut down by DCH. Diffuser down cold, and it's a matter of time until Elevate win their first defense. And a 3-4 scoreline it's looking pretty good for Elevate, considering what we've seen so far.
Felt like it started to crumble there at the end for SSG. They started the round so well, you know, Elevate also moving in shape with what it was SSG were doing. Just taking step backs, you know, moving back onto site, getting themselves re-established, and just not looking to lose anyone in a really silly way, which is great. They realized the Jackal was there, didn't take any risks. Spot on kind of stuff. For SSG, the first smoke came out a little bit misplaced. I think it must have bounced, for example, off the arch archway above the door that then impeded their path forward. They got one a bit deeper, but you really needed that second smoke to go down inside a highway to stop any pushes coming through. But they were also completely unaware of the player that was sat behind the bomb site inside of Laundry. So although he didn't step out and kill 2 players as they were coming up through Laundry side, he did get a freebie inside of Freezer. That removed all pressure on that side of the map, and SSG's attack just lost a lot of its backbone from there. So really good defense by Elevate. SSG got to be a little bit sharper in those final 90 seconds. You start so well, but it's about completing too.
Elevate just setting up the attic side of things. Going to be doing the reinforcers to keep SSG out. Are they going to do both sides? No, they're going to keep the rotate there, so they're going to have to keep a hold of Big Tower. Mark's going to be going all the way down into basement. No, he's just chasing drones at the minute. He's up and down, but it's going to be his job potentially to try and keep them out. He's going to place the mute jammer. I'm just wondering exactly what's going on. Are we going to... No, he's back in there. I didn't know if he was going to try and play his position from inside of attic rather and try and invite SSG onto him a little bit. We've just got aggression from Onigiri there on garage door. He's going to miss his shots onto the drone, so that's just going to see him dipping away into basement. But Onigiri on a roam in the map is a dangerous thing. They need to make sure that they're finding him.
And again, since the theme has been for me drones throughout this map, let's just take a look at the quick difference here in counter drones versus what we had from Elevate in that fateful round when they'd lost 4. SSG are only down 1 so far. They're doing really good with the drones, keeping them alive. 1, as we saw, in a really key position as well, supported by the 0 here from Yeti. There's just so much information raining in from this team right now that there should be no nasty surprises. I say should. Elevate, as we know, very capable of springing out and picking up a couple of kills out of seemingly nowhere.
Bosco, he's going to get that breach open. He's ready in position now. I don't know that that's walkable. It looks like it's only 1 charge that has detonated and then been cleared off by an impact nade. So he's going to need to maybe... No, it might be. No, that's a double. He can get himself in there. So access is available now. I think Rampy is potentially thinking about getting onto that double window at some point. He was last up on the rooftop. But it's looking like he's just moving himself around at the minute. Everything else is going to be coming through Trophy and Master for SSG here. 1 minute 30 left to go. There's no real pressure on SSG other than when they do this at the minute.
Well, shield being taken out there, I imagine. Did he miss it? I think he did. It's going to go on through here and take out that shield, though, which means now no one can sit behind it too freely. They're trying to slowly massage Elevate away from being able to stop a gains room plant coming in here. Bosco's been sat waiting quite patiently for a while, just inside of Master, whilst they get trophy control assumed. From there, they're looking to get in and get a plant in next to the foosball table, off the back of a bunch of smokes and candelas coming in from Rampy. It does feel like they've got all the right stuff starting to come together here, and there comes the first candela.
Focuses on the drones, still an important thing to note, because obviously there is the player on the flank and they just need to be aware at all times as to whether that is going to be somebody that pushes up or not. Rampy could potentially hold that through the armory corridor window whilst the rest of them try to push on and get themselves into sight. 40 seconds left to go, and SSG in a position where they need to be moving forward now. They need to be getting themselves into a position to put this diffuser down because they're not quite ready to execute yet.
Everyone's been forced off towards the left except for Mr. Punch on the downstairs. It's brilliant manoeuvring of SSG so far to force them further and further back into the waiting arms of Rampy with these candelas. This will catch out a couple of players here because they've also got smokes to work with. Either way, he is distraction force on this side of the map. Steps in and finds one, looking for another off towards his left. Sees his man but doesn't win the kill. There's 2 kills that come out as well for Elevate, but the plant is going down. They get a super aggressive push, and Hot and Cold is trying to do what he can to save this, but it's not going to happen. Elevate exploding in the execute and shutting down a very mistimed SSG.
That was nice from Elevate. As you say, it sort of looked like they were pushed back, but I'm feeling maybe they just sort of fell back. They were like, that's okay, you can have that little bit of room, you can have that little bit of room, you can have that little bit of room, but no more. And then as that final execute came in, it was well played from Elevate. They didn't lose their heads, they won the gunfights they needed to, and closed out the round. And that leveled things up 4-4. And what was looking like a very good start from SSG on their defensive half is starting to look a lot more now like we could be potentially heading for overtime at best here. They've not been drastically close to either of those rounds. I felt like basement, you know, there was a situation, they had Yeti down at pillars, they were in command of a few areas, they'd moved Fultz down into laundry, but nothing ever really came of it. And again, the same there. They got themselves into the positions to execute. They got themselves ready. They were postured, ready to go. But again, Elevate then had the answers in the last 30 seconds, and it's been well played from Elevate.
again, I'll give it. I think SSG, again, in the very start of the rounds, leading up to the point of the execute itself, are brilliant.
Yeah.
The way they've managed to maneuver 4 players over towards the west, completely away from any semblance of control, was brilliant. But the one key piece they were missing in that round, I felt, was a player either on Kit's window or at top white. Because what you're looking to do there is stop someone doing exactly what happened, which is running in through the single gains wall and spraying down Bosco whilst the plant is going down. He's the one that has to be protected. You've got someone on trophy door, one top white, even on Kids, for example, to stop any crosses coming through, and that plant goes through every day of the week. Admittedly, okay, there was a C4 out of the Valkyrie, but that only got faults. It didn't get the man himself going for the plants. So just a small thing there being missed, it felt like, by SSG that really enabled Elevate to go a little bit gung-ho and say, you know what, we're going to run in towards games room, we're going to spray down the planter, we're going to win this round. So let's see that course corrected. But I think I'm with you, Tim. If this doesn't scream overtime, it screams an Elevate win, because those 2 rounds have been a bit ropey.
This is it, like you say, you know, SSG, the 2/3 of the round are good. It's just that final bit that's not working out, and Elevate have been able to take advantage of that. Yeti, he's going to launch himself with the Gara hook into T3, but he's almost going to launch himself into a problem, and Sapper manages to finish the job with a beautiful nitro, taking Yeti down, and that leaves us in a 4v4 with DCH already dead and gone. We are in a position where SSG have still got work to do to take this top floor. We've got a number of Elevate players up there. They very much defend him from above, but Mr. Punch, he's going to find himself down, but not out for the time being. May be able to rescue him here, Elevate, but it's going to be a risk.
They could bait this, I'm sure. If Rampy just waits a second, he can bait this doorway. But if he's not careful, he'll mistime it and get himself killed as well. Looks like, no, they will collect him out just fine. Right call being made there, I think, to try and wait for him to get into kitchen. It was just far too silly to go in, exposed to an area of the map of which you have 0 information on.
Mark still up on the top floor. His position is going to be particularly important. It is largely the one that you would look to be denying any defuse attempt from. So Onigiri is up there to support as well. Knows that there's a potential push from Master, but SSG aren't rushing this. You know, I like that they're just taking the time. They're droning out. They're making sure that they can get this job done, because they know how important this round is. But Onigiri and Mark are still a little bit slippery up there on the top floor, Des, and they're wasting more and more time here. And SSG are a team that will want to put the diffuser down if they can, and so each second that burns away is very important.
Well, now they know where they are, as well as 3 members coming in here. And they've been shot through the floor. Finds one. Oh, Onigiri painting circles around him, but not the man himself.
Team
and
kill.
it's a team kill from Fultz, not again. We've had that twice so far this game. Admittedly, Fultz was the victim last time, but they've got themselves down to a 2v1 with 30 seconds to play. I don't know about you, Tim, but this feels very clutchable.
It certainly does. Sapper's down there. He's got the shotgun, but no, he's going to run into the vertical angle. Bosco waiting and just closes him out when the round goes with it. And I tell you what, it just starts screaming overtime. Each team only able to win attacks onto that tertiary site choice, but big moments for Elevate coming now. 5-4 down, the motivation surely there for SSG to get one of these primary sites locked out and at least try and make the difference. The problem is, for SSG now, if they win basement or if they win top floor, they kind of got to win it twice, because they're not going to then see that 3rd choice site. So, you know, they're going to see a repeat of one of those primary sites.
The way I look at it is both teams have lacked on the primary sites, right, on this map. I think whether it's the end products, ironically, it's almost opposite problems, right? Elevate kind of pulling rounds out of almost nowhere. It felt like, or getting close to pulling them out of nowhere despite having a poor start. SSG having a great start, but not being able to complete. They've both got opposite issues right now. But it's always on these primary sites, on the downstairs and on the upstairs, where the attackers simply aren't able to win. We've got one last quarter of regulation, as I call it, these 3 rounds to play out, in which we need to see SSG win either this site or the next one, and then go on to win the offsite as well. Because neither team has been able to defend that offsite so far, admittedly in very different styles, but I just think the key, again, is getting one of those primary sites won.
Interesting to note, you know, obviously we talk about the strength of SSG in the beginning of the rounds, Des. At the minute, the 9 rounds that we've seen so far, it's actually 7-2 on entry to SSG. They are quite consistently... Exactly that. They are quite consistently picking up those entry kills. All 3 attacking rounds so far, they have had the entry kill, but have been unable to shut those rounds down, and that's going to be something that might just come back to haunt them if they end up losing this map. Elevate, you know, doing a very good job of fighting from behind. So back in basement we go for round 10. It's going to be Elevate still on the defense now until the end of regulation, of course, and They are largely back to sight. There's 4 of them down there that I can see. Fultz is looking on the Jackal to try and track down anybody that he can, but there's not going to be too many of them there to find, I don't think.
No, it looks like it knows to begin with at least. So again, I mean, Elevate have always played quite passive, I feel, here, really. The most aggressive we've seen, really, is DCH being up inside T3. But they have dropped away inside about 90 seconds. In the last round, we saw them play this. They don't want to get involved in gunfights, really, more try and do exactly what SSG did, which is pick away at the drones, slow down the attackers a little bit, force them to waste a bit of time, so when the execute does come in, there's even less time for them to work with.
Yeta just going to push into rear stage stairs. Beautiful nade. Almost takes out Mark and DCH, but both somehow managed to escape with their lives, but that is certainly not ideal for Elevate. Not only have they lost the position, not only have they lost rear stage stairs and almost pillar, but they've got 2 defenders now on very, very low health and easily taken out. So they need to be very aware, you know, potentially thinking it's difficult to move his army away from pillars because obviously the Kiba barricades can be important in keeping and holding that position, but on such low health, it's very, very dangerous.
It is. Into that last 60 seconds then, and this is where again SSG have got to start pulling things together here. This is where they fell every single time they've tried so far when it comes to these last 60 seconds, 30 seconds, whatever it might be, to try to move forward with a couple of players that look easy enough to pick off. Mark is a lucky man. He's down to literally 1 HP, Tim. Could have been finished off, but is still here. And I think we saw in a couple of our games yesterday, players on 5 HP walking away with 2Ks in the close. It's not enough.
Just remember Mark's health come the end of this, and you know how well Elevate might just have used those remaining hit points, because he's burning time after time after time, second after second from pillars where SSG can't get in there. Sapper manages to get Yeti. Mark finally taken out, and here comes that SSG collapse. 1 kill, 2 kills, 3 kills. Rampy with the last of them, and it's all up to Sapper now. 1v4, and surely this is the attack on a primary site that SSG managed to take. Out goes the Toxic Babe, gives away his location. He's going to try and knock out that Kiba barricade, but no, his position is given away to Hot and Cold, who is able to close out the round, and SSG finally get themselves on to that map point.
And as I said earlier on, I think breaking one of those 2 primary sites was the key. That should be what turns this around. They can probably lose this next round and feel very comfortable going into the final one, the 12th, that will be most likely on... Well, I say actually, no, it probably wouldn't. Elevate, I'd imagine, wouldn't choose to go the off-site. They'd replay the downstairs again. But SSG, having just won that site, will feel very confident going into it. Either way, it's screaming alarm bells for Elevate right now on their map pick.
It is, you know, and they can probably feel a little bit hard done to. You know, they've played their defense pretty well. They've frustrated SSG on the whole. They've made it difficult for them. They've done everything they can, realistically. But this is, if you remember, at the beginning of this map, I said about SSG, this is a roster with an awful lot of experience. They're not the sort of players, you know, that are going to panic, that are going to think that, you know, they're in a problem, that they're in a bad situation. They're going to find a way, and that's what SSG have just done there. They win that round, and they know now there's blood in the water. They can smell it, and for me, they're the sort of team that will close out this map.
Let's see if they can get there then. This is that time to do it and then move on to club and show what you can do. Looking at the Pulse on side alongside the Valkyrie from Elevate feels a lot more intel like leaning than it was previously. We've seen interestingly the Jaeger and the Wamai coming up quite a lot for both teams on the defensive side, but we've seen Valkyrie once or twice, not seen the Pulse really coming through for either of them. So what I like about it here is again feeding in with the C4s, and then that we've seen Elevate generally avoid playing throughout the half so far. I think I've seen maybe 1 max. They then had a bunch of impacts and barbs to go along with it as well. So really I'm leaning in towards seeing that explosive utility being used correctly off the back of the information to determine whether or not they come out on top in this round.
So SSG need to be aware of what Elevate did here last time around. They were forced back deep into site, but this is a site that I've often said is like a... Most sites are, to be fair, but there's a real element of like an onion defense here. You're breaking down those layers, but the core of it is particularly difficult. If you're going in the last 20, 30 seconds and you've still got 3 or 4 players alive and they're playing in and around, you know, the main dorms area, the double window kids dorms, if that's their sort of stronghold, it can be very, very difficult to break down, as SSG found last time around. So this time, they've got to make sure that they're doing something. Rampy, he had that presence on double window last time around, needs to be there, needs to be making sure that they can't hold on to that area. If they're going to force them anywhere, they need to scatter them really more than consolidate them into those 2 rooms.
Well, hopefully what you're looking at with the Dukabion side is that it becomes easy to consolidate them into 1 or 2 rooms, just slowly kind of boxing them in, as they've already shown they can do when they're attacking onto the top floor. Feels like a similar story, but have they dealt with Onigiri? The answer right now is no. There's one working out towards Showers, which could be a little bit nasty to try and face down into. And with the information being provided again by the Valkyrie and by the Pulse, that's exactly what they're looking for.
We've got Rampy currently working across from Showers. He's trying to go for that clearance. But like you say, with, you know, potential Onigiri, with potential Pulse, Sapper out in the map, it could make it very, very dangerous to do so. But SSG seem to have a good handle on what's going on here. Hotten's going to go downstairs and just try to support his man, Bosco. Just getting into a little gunfight there. Sapper removed, and well played from SSG. Another entry kill for them.
Wasn't quite a trade, but it was very much bait play coming out from Fultz as well, just bringing him down low, forcing that mag down to empty and hot and cold swings for the 1 of the 5 critical kills they need to round out this map. Onigiri looking to get busy here, but the patience being shown by Bosco. He's been lurking out towards Showers the entire time, not really moving forwards and waiting for Onigiri to move. His patience is rewarded after 2 minutes as he brings down one of the key men on this Elevate side. 3 left standing and 4 for SSG.
Right, SSG have done the bit well that we know that they can do well. They've done the first 2 minutes. They've got those kills. They're 4 versus 3. Now, can they do that last second execute? 15 seconds left to go, and they're going to have to get themselves moving towards site. At the minute, they're still chasing Shadows. They know there's players on the flank. They haven't dealt with Mr. Punch. They're going to have to ignore him. They've no choice here but to try and push through the smoke, and I think they've just dedicated a little bit too much time to that bottom floor, Des, as it starts coming in. There's 1 player left alive, yet he's somehow in there able to get the diffuser down and extend the clock. It's 2v1. Mr. Punch, he's just got to do it now. He's moving around. He's into kids. He's got to find his men.
Gotta try and find him as best he can, but he looked for the wrong spot. He assumed the plant was going down in games. That's a critical team call error that has cost them the round and cost them the map. SSG taking Elevate's map pick.
Well, it all got a bit frantic at the end there, and even with 5 seconds left to go, the focus for SSG was still on getting that diffuser down, but somehow Yeti got in there and got the job done, and it pushes them over the line on Oregon.
Beautiful stuff as well. A really entertaining game, and sure, Elevate did battle in through a good few of those rounds, and the defense running the clock down, forcing SSG into some difficult positions, but really you'll look back at that first half and say SSG look incredibly strong on the defense. Really excited to see how Clubhouse goes, given it is SSG's map pick. So let's go to a quick break, and when we come back, Clubhouse awaits.